Seth Godin is known for his contrarian permission marketing. Now, he has like an entire philosophy in marketing, but this is what he is most known for. And it's basically contrarian because most marketing tends to go in the form of like being interruption marketing. You know, if you think of Facebook advertisement or YouTube advertisements, often that's interruptive. They are just sending you ads, even though you might not want to be shown an ad at that time. Whereas what Seth Godin says is instead of like annoying your prospects into buying, actually ask for their permission to be sold to. Because when you do that, you will get a lot more buy-in, your prospects will be a lot warmer, and you'll just have like a better relationship with your marketer. You actually want to be sold to, right? So in this video specifically, I want to talk about how that applies to sales as well, because what Seth is known for is more the permission-based style. And as far as I know, he isn't explicitly against assertion or using force, but that's not what he is known for. What he is known for is taking the other side and being very disregarding and negative towards force and assertion. Now, even though that's a very useful perspective, I also want to explore when assertion and force can be useful, and then I'll try to show you like which of the two energies you can use in which situation. So when you think about permission-based marketing, or sales, when is that useful? Well, if you want to develop an actual good relationship with your clients, then I think asking their permission can be helpful. I don't think it's strictly necessary, but I think it can be helpful, because if you do have their permission, you have more trust to sell to them, and you have more basically room to do what you want to do. Whereas if you just assert yourself, you're doing that without your permission, right? So does that mean it will fail? Not necessarily. It might land in the right way if you have the right calibration and things like that. But you're still kind of like not asking their permission, and that's still something some people won't like, especially if you're being annoying with it. But it depends on how you go about it. And so I think, generally speaking, if we think about, well, I come from a background of like cold approach and things like that. So since I was insecure, I'm always thinking like, I don't want to ask for permission, right? I want to have teeth because I don't want to apologize for being myself. And I want to take up space and not apologize for that, because why should I apologize for being myself? So I think there's a very real perspective of assertion and using force can be good if you do it in the right way. That is my opinion. That's not Seth Godin's opinion, or not what he is known for, but that is my opinion. However, if you look at how sales and marketing traditionally is done, it's a lot of like interruption-based marketing and sales, right? Like the Facebook advertisements, if people visit that platform, they know that they're going to see advertisements. So implicitly, they're agreeing to see the advertisements. But that doesn't mean that they like to see it. They're still getting interrupted and they're scrolling, right? So they still have a little bit of annoying feeling. Whereas if you explicitly ask for their permission, then now they're actually much more bought in. So I think in sales, in marketing, and in life, we shouldn't be afraid to assert ourselves, first of all. Because otherwise, you're never fully going to be able to be yourself. That's one thing, self-expression. The other thing is, if you do something that you truly believe is right, then I also don't think you should ask for permission. Because if you truly believe it is right, like, why would you suppress yourself? That does not make sense to me. On the other hand, I think in situations where you are not entirely sure if it's a match or not, I think asking for permission can make a lot of sense. I think that's the main thing. Just like also it like giving you leverage to do what you want a little bit more. But you might have to take no for an answer as well. But then you know at least. So it kind of depends on the way you want to go. But personally, I would also say it depends on the situation. And maybe a little bit on who do you want to be. Do you want to be a little bit softer, or do you want to be a little bit more direct? But a lot depends on the situation as well. Like I said, I don't think you should apologize for yourself. Now, it is different if you have something that you believe in. That doesn't mean that you should always be direct and always assert yourself, because you might hurt people's feelings, right? And even though you believe in it, doesn't mean they believe in it. So I don't think you should apologize necessarily, but I also don't think you should just override and like brute force, because that's not the right way to go about it, right? It also depends on your level of conviction and how important it is to you, right? Because if it's very important and you're very convinced, then I think being a little bit more direct makes sense. But like the more doubt you have, or the more it's more of like a value instead of like a fact or some truth. Like if it's more of just a value, personal belief that you have, I think it also can make sense to us more for permission, being a little bit softer. That will give you more room, and it will pull them in more. And so I think if you ask for permission, you have an entire perspective on the world that you don't have if you only learn to be assertive. If you only learn to be assertive, you're gonna know how to take space, but you might not have the social savviness and tactfulness to deal with certain situations. Like if you want to develop a relationship with clients and you want to know for sure that it's the right fit for them, you want to know for sure, you want to develop that trust and that knowing that you are aligned, I think permission makes a lot of sense actually. I think like really it depends on the situation, and it's the same thing in marketing as in sales. When you're selling, like we are selling your product and you're not sure if you should ask for permission or not. Well, it depends on how you feel, what you believe, and also with the prospect, right? What he feels and what he or she believes. So again, this is what I would say. If it's a value thing and you're not entirely sure about it, it's not a universal truth, and the person might feel different about it, I think it can make sense to use more permission, ask for permission. Whereas it's something you truly believe in and you know that it's right, or you just, you want to set boundaries, then I think it's good to take up space and to be assertive. But it depends. When I started doing personal development and communication and things like that, I started like learning to be more assertive because that's what I was lacking. But at a certain point, the tail started skipping for me. And then I was like, well, I'm not perfect at being assertive, but I feel like at this point, I need to learn to develop relationship and tactfulness more. And just being assertive isn't going to allow me to develop trust enough with people. So it depends on where you are at in your personal journey, as well as what the situation demands of you. The prospects, the product you're selling, or your marketing, depends on all of that. Let me know if this video was helpful for you. I hope that I was able to share something useful. Check out my next video if you want. Leave comments and ideas if you want also. I will see you guys next time. Have a great one. Cheers, guys.